Well folks, Mark here from Street Effects, and I'm going to talk to you about something that pretty much anyone with a lowered car or a sports car would be very familiar with, and you would probably know the pain of getting in and out of driveways with a car with a bit of an overhang like this and anything that's lowered. Like I was saying about getting in and out of driveways and lip damage. There we go. This car's not even got a huge overhang, and that's from going in and out of a driveway. So Exhibit A. And Exhibit B, you can see we've managed to do a bit of mischief to the bottom of the Supra bar as well. And it's ended up cracking through there. So if you look at this is at the ride height we like, but we don't want to sacrifice that. However, we'd still like to be able to get in and out of driveways without having to crawl along at a snail's pace or scraping the front of our car. Now, things like supercars, Lambos, Ferraris, our old supercars all had a hydraulic lift system. Now, this car has something very similar. It's a Stance Parts air cup suspension lifter that lives on top of the coilovers, and basically they give you an extra 50 millimeters of lift at the push of a button at both the front and rear of this car. You can have them in an option for just the front, which is what most people would want, but we have such a low exhaust in this car. When we go over speed humps, it was actually really handy because it's a 4-inch exhaust that actually gets a bit bigger where it goes near the diff. And that makes the car sit very low to the ground. So if we're going over speed humps, the back of the car ends up scraping. So it was quite handy that we have the front and rear lifters in there. Installation is fairly basic. So if you know how to install a set of coilovers, you won't have too much trouble with this. The only difference being is you're gonna need to run some air lines, some wires for the switches, and also fabricate some brackets for the compressor and the relays in the boot there, which is not too difficult if you've got a little bit of skill up your sleeve. As you can see, the car's still got normal coilovers in there, so we're not losing any handling ability on the track or on the road. We still have normal springs, normal shocks with adjustable damper control. Now, unlike airbag suspension, which typically handles like balls and will leave you stranded if you've had a failure, air cups will give you the best of both worlds. Now you get the handling and the performance of a coilover with the adjustable ride height that you need for daily driving with no compromise on the track. So what I'll do today is I'm going to show you all the components that make up this system, and it'll give you an idea on what you would need to be able to do that to your car. And I'm telling you, it makes it so much easier to drive. Inside the car, we have the compressor override switch that allows us to isolate the compressor and give it power or not. At the moment, we can have it off. So we've got the front and rear switch. So when they're illuminated like this, and the rear one. And we can go back down as well. And those switches are an optional extra that we got made up ourselves. In the back of the car, that's where all of the hardware lives. We haven't lost any luggage space. Underneath this carpet is where we've hidden it all away. Now, we don't carry a spare tire in this car anymore. We've put the compressor and the tank in this area. So these are all the relays that control the up and down, the compressor, and the air tank. And it all fits under the carpet there pretty nicely. You can have them separated, so you can just buy them in pairs. If you have just the front, you don't need to have a tank this big, and in fact you can run it just off the compressor if you want to. However, we like to have it with the tank, and it's not really using up any space that we would otherwise have been taking up anyway, because we never carry a spare in this car. If we need to, we'd just call a tow truck. And most modern cars don't even have a spare anyway, so what's the difference? Now, although you can drive around the car in its highest setting, it's not advisable to go too far, because what you'll notice is it does actually change your wheel alignment. So if we have a look at this, when we go into the higher setting, you'll see the camber and toe actually change when it goes all the way to the top, because your wheel alignment's obviously set for the normal ride height. So probably not advisable to be going off-road, beach bashing or anything like that, and it's best just to be used to get over speed humps and in and out of driveways. One of the other hidden benefits is it makes it easier to get it on and off hoists as well. So now let's have a look underneath the Supra, and I'll show you where all the lines are going. Each strut gets its own one of these little air lines, and these ones run across the other side. And it goes up to the Stance Parts air cup, and that's the part that moves up and down. And as you can see, it's just a normal coilover from MCA, aside from the stance parts cup on the top, so you can convert any normal coilover into a height adjustable air cup. And this is what I'm talking about. See how we've been scraping along there, especially these clamps, we need to get them modified. But that's why I like having the rear adjustment. That one's about to fall all the way through. That doesn't have much longer to go. So there we have it, folks. That's the stance parts air cups, and I'm telling you right now, the car is so much more enjoyable to drive, not having that anxiety about whether I'm going to be able to get in and out of a driveway or a certain underground car park or hung up on a speed hump somewhere. Now all I need to do is get it put into this car so I don't screw up yet another carbon front bar. Anyway, if you want any more information, make sure you click the link in the description below.